Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm on my way to bed, and I'm not going to talk very much tonight. As soon as my hair dries a little bit more, I'm going to bed. I didn't sleep much last night. This time last night, there was a thunderstorm. Oh my word. Um, the temperature dropped about 30 degrees in 20 minutes or so, and this all started at almost dark, and I sat on the porch for a little while with Jenny and Mike, and they kind of saw what was coming, and Jenny parked her truck, her pickup, in front of the chicken coop so that the chicken coop wouldn't blow away. And a little later on, in the middle of this, when this storm really got wound up, Mike had to put his boots on and go out and go down because the wind was got a hold of one of the big doors on one of the barns. It was just about to tear that door completely off, and he backed another one of the pickups up to the door and pushed it, up close to the structure where the wind couldn't get it like that. But anyway, this just went on some hours, and about this time, I was sitting here and oh my, it was odd thunder, many lightning strikes, and the thunder was just continuous. It didn't really roll, it didn't rumble. It just was like the air was screaming and moaning in this continuous, until all of a sudden, and there was a clap of thunder that I thought I didn't know what the hell happened. And this little girl was asleep on my lap. And it woke her up in absolutely a panic. And she just exploded. Didn't know what or where the danger was, but something was. And she just exploded and scrambled in all directions. And it's a cat's instinct when frightened to leap to the highest point that they can reach. And the highest point in this case was the back of my chair, and she got tangled up in my hair. I got pretty scratched up over that, my arm, my hands. She was... But the percussion from this thunderclap rattled everything. And it dislodged the glass globe over the bathroom light, broke the light bulb, and the light thing was the glass globe part that, goes over the light bulb was just hanging there. So it was pretty damn, I went downstairs and I said, what the hell was that? And Jenny and Mike were still up. And anyway, the whole night kind of went on like that. Anyway, it turned out being a good night, but I didn't get any sleep at all. I did sleep a while this afternoon, which, I don't like to do. I don't like to waste my day sleeping. But today I was grateful for the rest. Okay, I'm not going to talk very much, but there's a couple of things that I do want to say. Uh, so stand by one, and I'm changing screens. I'm going to my blog. I put up a long-winded thing yesterday. I don't know if anyone was really able to listen and go through all of it. Where in the world is that now? Oh my. Anyway, it was one of the Christian watchmen on the, I think it was the Hagman and Hagman show. And there was a Christian watchman on there. They talked about all kinds of things. But I put it up, and I hoped people would find the time to listen to the last 20 minutes of it. I heard the last 20 minutes of it live. Where in the world did I put that? You know, I just put all this stuff on here, and okay, social media and election manipulation with Paul McGuire. That's the one. Let me click on that. This report also includes information about online human trolls and social bots. I had never heard that expression before, social bots. Computer-generated personalities and other manipulations of the mind. I was able to catch the last 20 minutes or so of this broadcast live, and I found the last 20 minutes comforting and encouraging. It went on for, I don't know, 3 hours or so. I did go back and I listened to all of this on the Hagman report. But it still was the last 20 minutes or so that I found comforting and encouraging. And it's that comfort and encouragement that I kind of wanted to bring forward. You know, I've been reporting on the status of several of the American Christian watchmen. And a thing I observed with the American Christian watchmen, who, you know, and that title includes a lot of diverse people that you wouldn't really think of, maybe. Dabu, for one. He's an American Christian watchman, in my opinion. The American Christian watchmen are in accord, on the same page, and in accord with one another, and I find myself in accord with them as well. And 2 or 3 people that I talk with seem to share most of my observations along this line. most of the Christian watchmen are in agreement that we are in the time of revelation when truth is being revealed. It is the time of the end, and they're in agreement up to a certain point. And it kind of strikes me like a snowplow. The truth is moving forward like a snowplow. And where the road is plowed and the truth is revealed, people are able to be in agreement. The Christian watchmen and, all of us are able to recognize and to be in agreement. Where the snowplow of this revealing has cleared the road. But ahead of the snowplow, where we haven't been yet, there continues to be all the diverse, all kinds of outlooks and interpretations and people's conclusions, and there is no unanimity as to what exactly is coming first, coming next. Nobody knows because it has not been revealed to us yet. But nonetheless, this snowplow is clearing the way. All right, so what was it that Paul McGuire said last night that because he was way off. I don't agree with this. Many people wouldn't agree with this, and this. So I'm just talking about those things that where the snowplow has come through, and what is revealed, and people are in accord and agreement to that point, to this point where we are in the revealing. So Paul was talking. He was halfway praying. I know that he was speaking with spirit. And what he was talking about was his awareness and the awareness of the Christian watchmen, that just yesterday some kind of new movement, new spiritual movement had begun now to flood onto Earth plane, engaging and pushing back the dark spiritual forces, and it was a palatable thing. I think and I'm bringing this up. I don't have too much else to say probably tonight, but I am bringing this to the forward, because I want you all to know that in my way I can and I am affirming that very much seems to be the case. There is we have received reinforcements. We have received spiritual reinforcements. And I just want to confirm that. That is how I view it. That is how I feel. That is how I interpret it. And beyond that, I will not say anything more about that particular thing. But I will tell you that I think I'm going to get the best night's sleep tonight that I've had in a long, long, long time. Okay, changing screens to see what else is up here. I have continued to post what information I can find. Mainstream news is not covering it at all about the Incirlik Air Force Base. Scrolling down to find the last piece that I was able to find. This story is being followed very closely by True News, and I think that they have the connections to really get their hands on as much valid information as can be obtained. And I could not post, True News doesn't right now, I guess, they're in the process of making some kind of new television studio or something. But for right now, you to get their broadcast, which is a kind of a daily thing, 5 days a week, you actually have to go to the True News site and listen to it there, because I don't have the ability to repost the audio portion. But both the broadcast of the 18th and the broadcast of the 19th, which was, yesterday, or to me it's still today because I've been up, August 18th. On today's True News, Rick Wiles breaks the story to listeners that the U.S. appears to be moving their nukes out of Turkey and the impact of that move. And later there was discussion about a ritualized human sacrifice that apparently, allegedly took place at the CERN complex in Switzerland. I don't think that I posted the video of this ritualized human sacrifice thing that took place at CERN, although I saw it. It's readily available. It looks pretty stupid and pretty fakey. And there is discussion of that. Rick examines the story and the official response of the scientific facility at CERN. Their response was quite interesting. For those who have been studying the activities of CERN, True News, August 19th, has chess master Putin checkmated NATO and secured a Eurasian military alliance. Rick Wiles again discusses the masterful power play which has placed Incirlik Air Base potentially in the future hands of Russia. Rick also contrasts the stark difference between Obama and Trump. as Donald Trump visits flood-ridden Louisiana and Barack plays golf. There is another article about Putin, and we followed this closely in 2014, and I remember that on RB we did a couple of very important investigative threads over there having to do with Ukraine and Crimea. Vladimir Putin flew into annexed Crimea on Friday, a day after staging war games there, and said he hoped Ukraine would see common sense when it came to resolving a diplomatic crisis over the peninsula. 2 years after Russian troops seized the peninsula, it is again the focus of international tension, after the Russian president accused Kiev last week of sending saboteurs who clashed with Russian troops. Actually, those saboteurs were Islamics, and a large contingent of Islamic ISIS type guys are being imported into Ukraine. At one point, the figure was 1,000 going on. Kiev, which has also fought a 2-year against pro-Russian separatists in 2 eastern provinces, denies the border incident ever took place and calls it a fabrication that could be used as a pretext for a new Russian invasion. The Russian leader has used threatening rhetoric, promising unspecified countermeasures, and has built up troops ahead of a big military exercise next month. He addressed the crisis again on Friday, opening a meeting of his Security Council at an airbase near the naval port of Sevastopol on his first visit to Crimea since he made the initial accusations. This mattered enough to Putin that he actually went to Crimea. Judging by all accounts, our partners in Kiev have decided to escalate the situation. Well, you know who the partners in Kiev is. That is spearheaded by John Kerry. We are all familiar with this method of escalation. It goes back a long way and has sometimes been used successfully, but not always. I hope that this won't be a final choice. This is Putin saying this. I hope that this won't be a final choice and that common sense will prevail, he added. I'm following this, and I'm telling you that mainstream media in the United States is not bringing a word of this anywhere. The only place I am finding this at all is on True News, as far as sources in the United States. And these issues are a big deal. Okay, going on. What else have I got here? I have some other pieces that I will put up tomorrow, and maybe tomorrow I can be a little more coherent with this. I couldn't promise that, though. All right, the last piece that I actually put up is this god-awful thing. You have to see these pictures to believe it. You can't unsee this. Nude statues of Trump pop up in U.S. cities. I don't know what these statues are made out of. I'm guessing some kind of paper mache that's been sprayed over with some kind of plastic coating, or I don't know how they've made these things, but they're nude statues of Trump in U.S. cities, portraying him in the most unflattering way. Overweight, a little bit overweight. I don't know what, to tell you the truth, I never looked that closely at Trump's body shape or size. I don't think that he's this overweight, but who am I to say? The only thing that I can remember that is anywhere similar to this was one time, I don't know if this had to do with an election, but there were Halloween masks made out of rubber type material that was used back in those days, that had these Halloween masks were made to look like Richard Nixon. That's the only thing that's similar that I can even remember. Nothing like this has ever taken place in an American election season regarding a presidential candidate. Statues of Trump in the flesh are showing up on the street corners of big U.S. cities, and many people cannot resist a selfie or two with the hilariousness. Though this is very likely a liberal stunt, I think it's incredibly hilarious, this writer says, and will have little to no impact on the herds flowing toward Trump's voice of freedom. I don't know what the Trumpers are going to think of this. I'll be watching that just out of, this whole thing is just an experience in political science that nobody has ever seen and can't even imagine part of this. Cannot even imagine it. The statues are bigger than life. This one looks maybe 12 feet tall or so. Full-bodied, all the back and front. Is Trump a Freemason like the statue suggests? I don't know what suggests this to have anything to do with Freemasons. Probably. You can see in the video below the Masonic ring on the finger of the overweight statue. Oh, all right, that explains that. Though one cannot deny that he's the only candidate who even seems inclined to mention the personal liberties that Americans are so concerned about today. Published on August 19th, 2016. Life-size statues of a naked Donald Trump mocking the Republican presidential candidate have popped up in New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Cleveland, and Seattle. And then there is a video which probably goes into more detail. As the big political battle of 2016 heats up across the United States, many people are excited to see their candidate win the presidential election. After a long and hard 8 years of Obama with his nihilistic liberal policies, Trump has a serious upper hand in visible support when compared with Clinton. Trump is filling whole stadiums and convention centers to the brim with supporters, while Hillary can barely fill a donut shop or middle school gym with Democrats. All right, I will leave it with that. Another thing the Christian watchmen are in accord with is that there is a feeling of building tension, a feeling of building awareness as we go forward, that we are going to see, partake in, and witness absolutely unheard of, stunning events from now on. And so there is a rising sensation of tension that can feel like anxiety that has been extremely heavy for all the Christian watchmen, including myself. Just about the heaviest load of tension-filled, something similar to anxiety. That would be the closest I can describe it, and the closest that Paul McGuire was able to describe it as well. But with this sudden change, something has significantly changed as the spiritual reinforcement, which people are interpreting as the angels of God pouring into the planet and doing battle on levels that we have limited perception of. And I think that is about all that's what I wanted to impart tonight. So I'm just not going to say that much more. I'm going to take it to bed. All right, finding my way back to my other screen. All right, you all. I just want to say I love you. Talk to you tomorrow.